Hey everyone, it's Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life, and I am here to share another album with you. We have moved on to, I believe this would be 2015, and it is this one because it was just Jackson at the time and our lives, and I was working and all of that. Fits perfectly in these two albums. So these are Project Life albums from Becky Higgins. I believe I purchased them at Michael's. So let's dig right on in. It is hot, 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 hot here, and so my window's open and it's the middle of the day. So if you hear some extra chatter, that is what is happening. And let me just make sure I'm in frame. It does appear that way. So starting off, I love to do a New Year's opening spread. I just love to do this. This is the photo I took the morning of. So it just says 6 a.m. on January 1st, selfies to send to Auntie Val and cuddles on the couch. So Sean would have been off, so he was sleeping because we did stay up till midnight. But obviously little Mr. Jackson was not going to sleep in, so I got up with him and just took this cute little photo to send to my sister, and then she sent me one back with her and my niece, and it was really cute. And then this product is, first of all, this was for one of my 30 days of sketches, like one of the first ones I did, and a lot of this product is from my very first kit that I received from Christina for the Secret Not Secret Kit Club. So love, 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 love. There's that little bear that says you and me. I covered up the saying there, and just these fun little tags, and I love it. It's fun and playful and the perfect opening to an album. And you're gonna see a lot. I worked again a lot with the cohesion of the two layouts, even though they are not done at the same time. I did try really hard to do that. So here is one talking about my little guy playing peekaboo, and it says, lately you have been running to your room and closing the door in hopes that Daddy or I will be there to say peekaboo. This is preceded with non-stop laughter. So he would go and run and if one of us didn't follow him, he would do it until we did, but then he'd open the door and would be like peekaboo, and he just would laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. He just thought it was so funny. So really sweet. I have this type of layout actually documented with Nora doing the same thing. So I love to look back at these, and hopefully I'm sure Barrett will do the same as well. I believe this is probably using a sketch as well. I know I re-scrapped these. I had done it once and didn't really love the way it had turned out, so I've re-scrapped them there. And then it jumps all the way. This was the 16th, so the 1st to the 16th. This is what I mean. I didn't document 2015 as much as some other years. This goes right into his birthday. So this was when he turned 1. He was a year old. We threw a pretty fun birthday party for him. Got him a little chocolate cupcake that he just devoured. Like, it was crazy. He just shoved it all in his mouth and he loved it. He didn't really play with it. He just wanted to eat it. And so that's kind of what this is talking about. Using a stencil with when I had modeling paste and mixed some color in there and just a few bits and pieces. I love this flare right here. I think you can see it. It's really skinny, so it doesn't add a lot of bulk to this layout, which I appreciate in that, because flare, I like to add dimension and stuff, but sometimes flare is really thick, and that's a nice skinny one. So yeah, this was before I popped a ton up on fun foam and stuff, so it's all kind of flat there, but I like it. I like it. I like it. There's no journaling, but I like it. And then here is one. This is again him with the cake, so a little bit more of an up close look with the cake there. You can tell this is a 9x12, and I'm just kind of leaving it. There's yellow here, so I can either like move it so it's in the middle. It can look like that. I might even redo it. Like, this is such a basic layout. It would be really simple to just lift up these layers and maybe do something a little bit more fun and playful for a first birthday cake smash. And actually saying that, I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to re-scrap that, but that is what that is. And then this goes into just, every year I kind of do an opening something about where I'm at and all of that. So this one just is my bucket list, and like our big plans. So travel all across Europe, complete our family, we've done that one, own our own home, visit Walt Disney World, and learn a new language. So I've done one of those 5. I'll get there, right? So this was fun. I do believe this was for a challenge for someone's way back when we were at like 300 subscribers and stuff. So there's a bunch of us, like 7 of us, that were all doing YouTube right at the same time, and we're all crawling up kind of at the same rate. And this was for one of those. I remember that. That was fun times. And let's see here. Oh, I love this. Was definitely for a lift and sketch that I had done. This is Jackson and his crazy curly hair. So a lot of people comment on Nora's hair. Jackson's was like it too until we cut it. He had little devil curls, and I loved his hair. So I really wanted to document that. I had used all the stars I could possibly find at the time. I'm way better now, but I struggled with stars a lot. So I used everything I could use up, and I can see that maybe I didn't use the best of glue there, because this one fell off. Does anyone else get really annoyed when you flip through your layouts and stuff isn't completely stuck down? It drives me nuts. All right, there we go. So yes, his fun curly hair, and it just says, "I love your sweet curly hair so much. The best time was right after you got out of the bath. I used to twirl my fingers through it. I really didn't want to cut your hair because I knew you would lose the curl, and it did just that." So exactly, once we cut it, it all went away. But I loved his little curly hair, and he would let me sit there and play with his hair. So I loved it. I had done some mixed media with this one. I hated it, so I covered it up with some tissue paper to kind of soften it, and I really love that effect. So just because you accidentally mess something up, try to think of a way you could maybe fix it and then turn it into something you really like. Then this one is to document his funny little moment where he got into all of the tissues, like the baby wipes, and just pulled them all out. So this is actually a snap from a video, and I don't even remember how I did that, but yeah, he pulled every single, and it was a brand new package, but he pulled every single wipe out. He just thought he was a funny dude. And then it says, "There are 2 gifts we should give our children. One is roots and others is wings." And then this one says, "Love you." So a quote to kind of go in with this little title. And then the journaling about the wipes are right here. So just telling that story about after changing his bum, "I came back from throwing away your diaper to you and a pile of wet wipes on the couch. I just had to stand there and smile. I asked you if you made this big mess, and you just laughed and then proceeded to throw every wipe onto the ground. Oh yeah, did I mention it was a brand new package?" So my silly boy. I created this back for Crafty Maven Getaway. This was like the very first project I did for that, and I was part of the original design team. So this is a bit of an older one, but I love the way it turns out. You can tell it's a bit of an older one for me because it is so flat. And here is one. This is a scrap lift of the fabulous Jen Scow. I scrap lifted a lot of her back here. This is when she first got on to YouTube, and I was absorbing all of her stuff and her style, and I just loved it. I soaked it in and did a lot of scrap lifting, and this is one of them, and I love this layout so much. I don't know if it's the colors, I don't know what it is, but I adore it. So just a super simple layout. Jackson had fallen asleep on the couch, and he just looked so sweet and so peaceful, and this is just kind of what happened on Sundays. We just kind of hung out, he would nap, we would kind of watch a show, and that would be that. So I love it. And there is, again, I did a lot of hidden journaling back then too. So it just says, "I love this picture of the 2 most important people in my life. To me, this picture represents all the little moments we share as a family, and let's be honest, there is nothing better than a lazy Sunday with a sleeping baby." So love this layout as well. I really do. Simplicity. I had I went through a very simple style for a little while, and it came out in my 2015 scrapping. Again with Valentine's Day there, so just little squares, so they're 3x4, and then I just cut them in half, and they're a little smaller because I did layer them a little bit, or I layered them and then put the backing with tissue paper on this so that they'd even themselves out. And then just did my journaling, and I love the way this turns out. I know a few people that have scrap lifted this one, so I think it was a popular one back in the time. And just some of my favorite pattern papers. Jackson had this green shirt, and the photo looked horrible in black and white, so I just pulled out the green with the little bit that I had in this collection. Valentine's Day in 2015 was pretty nothing, so that's just a cute photo of my two loves there. I love that layout too. And then we go into so this is titled Dream Day, but it was so totally anything but. I had a kidney stone, and it was really rough. I had to go to the hospital to get drugs. It was not easy. And if you ever had one, you'll know the day after you pass a kidney stone is almost the hardest, because it's like you're recovering from like giving birth. Like it's horrible. And so thankfully my little guy was willing to just hang out on the couch all day because I couldn't chase him around, and I had a very rambunctious little guy. So and so that's just what the journaling says. After a hellish 24 hours of being in severe pain, I was so thankful Jackson was willing to spend the morning on the couch. This is the second time I've had to deal with a kidney stone, and I pray I never have to again. I've had one more since then, so unfortunately that hasn't happened. But yeah, that was hell. And then here's a cute one. I love this photo, and it was an accidental shot, like the way the sunlight came in and kind of really softened the photo. So I love that. I'm not the best photographer, but when little accidents like that happen, I just adore it. And this one is heavy. I layered pattern paper on top of 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 pattern paper, but I didn't cut out any of it. So it is, I mean, thick. Like I go like this, and this part will flip over. But it's just Jackson and his relationship with my mom. And so I just documented it there, and just says, laughing with Nana. One of your favorite things is when Nana comes up to visit you. There's a special bond between you two, and you always seem to come away from a visit having learned something new. My mom is very good at that. I was able to capture this precious moment because you were just so caught up in whatever Nana was telling you. I can only hope and pray that as you grow up, that this bond stays as strong as it is now. I know Nana will hope and pray the same. So pretty darn sweet. And then just a few little embellishments here and there. I know I was using up a bunch of stash when I created that layout. And then baby selfie. This is something in my family album that didn't used to be. This used to be in an album I had that was like, there was a baby selfie and a toddler selfie, and so like I was trying to group things together, and I was just like, this is way too complicated, and so I've combined all of them together, and this is one of those layouts that I've taken out of there and put just into our family album instead. But yeah, so Jackson, I was trying to take a photo, and or he had my phone or something, and took a photo, and this is our baby selfie. I love it. And his blue eyes, and you can see his little devil curl. So I love it. It's so fun. I hand cut out this these letters, and then did a stitching around it, and just played. I do believe this is probably a bit of a scrap lift. I don't think this is a design I would think of myself, but yes, I love it. I know there's a process video for it, and I think it was from a lift and sketch, so I really like those colors too. And then on to his first haircut. He did so good. He got to the place he went, there were all these really cool looking cars, and he wanted to sit in one, like a Spider-Man one or something, but it was way too big for him, so he had to sit in this little yellow one. But he was fine. He got to like drive it, and he thought that was really cool. And so just talking about all that, Sean had to help and like hold his head still, because he was like, what is going on? And yeah, and he looked so much older when he got his haircut. It was crazy. So this is a scrap lift of Crafty Maggie, I believe, and I did a bunch of that you can't see because I didn't do anything to flip them up, but it's fringed, but not like with scissors. I did it myself. So I kind of need to go back and kind of ruffle that so you can see it, because you can't, it just looks like pattern paper layered there. So, and then tons of journaling talking about his adventure with it and some mixed media. And then here's another one. You can see this design was very, very prominent when I did that. And this one is just talking about my little guy was a cuddler. He loved to cuddle, and so there's nowhere else I'd rather be on Saturday morning cuddling with him. That was the place. So that is just what this is all talking about, and just my kind of more personal thoughts and feelings about that. I'd read it, but it's honestly, it wraps up the fact that I love being with him. So that's what that one is about. Here's one of my favorite layouts. I love this layout, partly because of the shot, partly just, I just love it. And so it's called My Sunday Morning Coffee. I love the silent hush, I love the silent hush Sunday mornings bring, the promise of a new week filled with possibilities. I start Sundays just like every other morning in my week, coffee with 2 sugars and cream. The difference is I tend to sip my Sunday coffee a little more slowly. And here's the fun fact. I only have 1 sugar now, so go me. Yeah, I love it. I like the colors. I made it girly because it was about me, and this is just definitely one of my favorites. Here's something not everyone thinks to document, but I highly, highly, highly recommend you do it if you have the photos. They're tantrums, right? This was his very first tantrum, and it was like in March, so he was a year and a couple months, and a holy tantrum. And I was trying so hard not to laugh, and I was smart enough, like I had my phone up, so I just quickly snapped some photos, and I just look at these and I crack up. It's just so funny. So your first tantrum happened just a few months after your first birthday. I believe it had something to do with your show changing. Needless to say, I have no fear that your lungs aren't in perfect working condition, and you're not even close to turning 2 yet. So yeah, he was not a happy camper there. So this was for one of the series I did with Caddy, where he used all the one collection, and this was some Dear Lizzie. Love that. And here's a scrapbook of the fabulous Paige Evans. This really fun love, and this was like right when I first started stitching, so it's not the best stitching job, but it works just fine. I love these little photos of, he would put them on his head and pretend like he's listening to music, and he loved music, and he still does. So just documenting that, and then hidden journaling talking about his love of music, and those were his daddy's headphones. And then green. Do you see all this green? Sharon, do you see the green? You should be proud of me. This was for a challenge for Crafting Wave and Getaway to use the color that you struggle with most, which is green. And I made it work. So I actually like the layout, but it is so much green. And it just says, you love the mornings. With Daddy's work schedule starting so early, you have learned to love morning time. Most days you are wide awake by 5:45 a.m. Thankfully he sleeps in a little bit more now. But yeah, so black and teal and green on that one, with just a cute little photo snapped of him on the couch. And then here is one about when we went to our little neighborhood, had a street fair, and we just kind of visited it and kind of talked about that. That's in May. And here is my Mother's Day layout for 2015, and I don't love this layout, but it's done. So the orange and the red kind of look like blood. If you watch this process video, it's quite funny. So I made it work. I trimmed it down, I backed it on the teal. The teal really helped it, and I just went with it. I used it because of the color of my shirt and then the color of his shirt. They're not even the best photos. I just quickly snapped them and let it be. So it works. I don't dislike the layout. It's just definitely not my favorite, and that was my kind of first experiment with like using red, and it kind of looks like I sliced my hand open and just squirted blood all over. I know that's really graphic, I'm sorry, but yeah, for sure, not my favorite. I do like this one though. This was using a stencil and some fun colors, and just because this is this was so Jackson. He would put his hands up and go blah, 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 and he would just do that for hours. It was so funny. He loved it. And so it says, lately you have been busy learning how to make fun sounds with your mouth and fingers. You walk around the house sounding like a horse. At times Daddy and I find it a tad annoying, but really we just love to see you learning new things. It's all just becoming part of your ordinary day, and these are the everyday memories I want to always remember. So just seeing this photo makes me remember it. I do believe there's a video to this too, so yeah, love it. There's another 9x12. I was kind of into those for a while. Followed up with the back of a 9x12 of him. We got a swimming pool that he could like hang out in the shade in because he wanted to be in the water a little bit more. This was the perfect pool. However, it did pop because he would jump in and out of it so much. So yes, this is again using some of that Dear Lizzie. So that same series I did with Caddy, and just talking about how I wasn't really sure about it at first, but then he loved it, and I stitched on my photo, you guys. Can you believe that? Oh, I don't know if I would do that anymore, but I do kind of like the effect. So there's that one. And then his love of sitting on our floor and putting everything possible on the floor. He still kind of does that. He just likes things on the floor. I don't know. So I just titled it Floor Fan with the journaling about that's if anything is on the couch, he will put it on the floor. Pillows, toys, anything and everything goes on the floor. It's a lot of work. He's hard. This is definitely a sketch, probably from Lift and Sketch. And then some more outside time. I really love this layout and the way it turned out. I used a little stencil that had triangles, and I colored them in with all of the teals and blues that I had, and then went back with my Sharpie and filled them in, and then just stitched where I wanted my journaling to be. And it just says, this summer was all about the discovery of water for you. Every chance you got to be outside in the pool or to go to the water park, you took. My favorite part, though, was during the heat wave in June. We let you spend most of the evening outside. Outside where you squealed with joy every time I splashed you. And best of all was watching you interact with Daddy through the window. So it's really hard to see, but Sean is right here and Jackson's right there, and they're laughing at each other. So it was really cute. So fun times. These are such great memories. And here is just some more summer. This is using that beautiful line. Oh, dude, I loved this line. And that was the Pink Paisley Summer Dreams. Oh, what was it called? I can't remember, but I absolutely adored it. It's one of my favorites, and I know I have it here. Summer Lights, that's what it's called. So 2 photos of him just sitting on the little chairs, and just the same thing, exploring, having fun, being outside. This is for a Lift and Sketch that one of my very first, like, series 1 of this. So love. I love my 2015 album, just kind of soaking in all of Jackson being little, especially now that he's 5. It works really well. So here is one to document Sean for Father's Day, and we just went to the park and they spent time together, and this pops up just talking about that, and I just titled this Always Be By Your Side. They have a very, very special relationship, Sean and Jackson. Sean is very good with Jackson, especially in the moments where I maybe not be, so they are just, it's fabulous. So just documented that. I did some, when I have my Heidi Shine on wood grain, looked so cool, so I did that. A little bit of wood veneer. I fussy cut out this pattern paper to slide my photo in, and a few layers here and there. Here's a pretty heavy mixed media one. So I'm not really sure what this one was for, to be honest with you, but I do kind of like it, and I know it was a re-scrap. So yeah, definitely some mixed media. I can tell that I went with some white and then went over it with blue and did the smushing technique and stitching, and oh, there's just everything is there. So these are, we were letting Sean sleep in one day, and that's exactly the I wanted to let Daddy sleep in one morning, and so to keep you busy, I brought out the paint. You really enjoyed making a huge blue mess all over the tray on your high chair. The best part for you, however, was the bath you got afterwards. So he played for like 15 minutes with it maybe, and then I'm like, do you want to go have a bath and get cleaned? And he was in the bath for like an hour. So yeah, it's pretty fun. I definitely like my re-scrap of it. The one I had before, I didn't really love it, but together these two pages I just think work so well together. And so it's the cohesion of my layouts that I enjoy when I flip through. Here's one I did. This was for Victoria Marie's scrapbook when I was like on the challenge team or design team when she very first started her Facebook group. So I got to like host a challenge, and this is one of the ones I did, and it's just this sweet photo of my little guy sleeping there. When I walked into your room and saw you sleeping like this, I had to take a pic. You are just too cute. So just an absolutely simple, not really a story other than the fact that he looks adorable. There's his fox, there's his blanket. That's my little guy. So that's what this one is about. Here's one I really love, except for my journal, where my journaling went. But I loved this collection from Simple Stories. And so I titled it Summer Wonderland instead of Winter Wonderland. See my play on words there. And then just layered in a few things here and there. Put my photo, and then there was a lots of space, so I used one of these photo overlay like stickers, like clear stickers on top of it. And then it just says, nothing beats the feeling of a warm evening with a sweet smelling breeze in the air, especially when you know there is nothing but peace for the next 10 days. Hello, summer. So I must have been on vacation for that time. So I do remember that. Actually, I was working at my old office, and he went away for a vacation, and so we all got a vacation as well. So yep, a few layers, again, quite flat. There's a few pieces here and there, but like my photo is really, really flat. And then to wrap up the first half of this album is not the best story ever, but I really love, love, love the layout. So this is me as a first-time mom, not knowing any better. But he woke up one morning and was so hot. Like I touched him and it like burned my hand. He was so hot, and it startled me, and I couldn't really, he was hot for a while. So we took him to the ER, and the doctor was like, yeah, kids get sick every every 6 weeks, and it takes 4 weeks to recover. So they're always sick. And he wasn't the nicest doctor ever. Made me feel pretty stupid, to be honest. But I didn't know, and it was just, yep. So we went. This was quite early in the morning, 4 a.m. And Sean went with me, and we went. But now we know, and we know what to do. And since then, I've had 2 other kids, and Barrett has a temperature. He gets a little bit of Tylenol, and he's fine. So first kid syndrome. But yeah, I love the design. There's all these fun layers, and I love the photo. He's playing with his keys, trying to keep a little baby like entertained in the ER is quite hard. And the journaling is just talking about that, how Jackson hadn't been feeling all too well for a few days. So when he woke up in the middle of the night screaming and hot as an oven, we decided to take him to the ER just to make sure he was all right. The doctor came in and explained everything he was doing is very normal for a toddler, as they tend to catch a cold every 6 weeks or so. I felt bad for being overprotective, but I am so happy your first visit to the emergency went so smoothly, because, you know, that's life. So there you have it. Can you see kind of the simplicity? However, my style's in there, but this was definitely a year where I went through a very like simple style of scrapping. So that is my first half of 2015, and I will see everybody next week with part 2. Bye everyone.